tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Happy Sober Saturday. Finally got to the S's again. We're a little early today. Bronco game's on 11. That's where I will be at 11 o'clock. At least for part of it. It's a preseason game. I think I'll watch it more out of habit than anything else. So we will see. I have a sliding glass door I really need to fix. Yeah. So we will see. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about something I see quite often. It's called toxic positivity. Toxic. There's that word toxic. Toxic positivity. All right. Now, having a good attitude is one thing. It is. Trying to be positive about everything that positivity is not a solution. It requires no action. Being positive about something doesn't require any action, but it is a good way to at least get your mind in a good place to kind of do the old switcheroo in the brain, right? But it is not, positivity is not a lifestyle. It is that's like writing a gratitude list keeps you sober and serene, and you get everything that you need from being grateful. Toxic positivity is when people just go too far. Well, you're being positive about it. Are you being? It's not an answer. Okay, it's not a solution, but it can help you get to the solution. But it doesn't require it for me to do anything to change my attitude. Now, maybe something, maybe go work with another alcoholic or something. But even then, that's not necessarily positivity as much as it is an altruistic movement of love, of outgoing love. All right. See, everybody's piling in this morning. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name's Dion. See, I already know one person gonna make it. They're meeting with their sponsor. Saturdays are not the day for people. Oops, I got rid of something I shouldn't have gotten rid of. All right. But welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. We're going to be in the 12 by 12 today. Looks like page 111. Today it is today's daily reflection, but I renamed it because it's bringing the message home. But we've got to carry the message everywhere we go. At home is very important too. This is our family we're talking about. Right? But you're going to find that there's more to family than just blood family. There's some people in my family, they want nothing to do with the ninth step or anything. They don't want to heal it. That's not my problem. I will take you then. I'm going to write you a nice letter that I'm probably going to throw in the trash or burn or something. But we're going to be on page 111. Looks like we are in step 12 again. So when they run out of things to say on step 8, they go to step 12. It's usually what happens. They just go to 12. So, hey, but they mixed it up. So we got to be grateful for something. All right. So can we bring the same spirit? Okay. Let's see here. I just kind of seen where we're at. Okay. Let's just start at top of page 111. Page 110 is pretty good, but it didn't say to read it. So we often pass through 12th step experiences where we will seem to be temporarily off the beam. These will appear as big setbacks at the time, but will be seen later as stepping stones to better things. For example, we may have our heart set on getting a particular person sobered up, and after doing all we can for months, we see him relapse. Perhaps this will happen in succession of cases, and we may be deeply discouraged as to our ability to carry the AA's message. Okay. This is a fallacy of an alcoholic brain. Right. To think that we can get somebody sober when we couldn't even get when we couldn't even get ourselves sober. You don't have the power to get other people sober or keep them sober. You don't have that power. You can do the best that you can. That's it. But if your emotions are hung up on how your sponsees are doing, well, then we might want to take a look at emotional sobriety. And it's going to happen to you. See, we alcoholics, we kind of come with, there's something installed in us called codependency. It's these extreme emotion. Well, we went from the extreme of abusing other people to being codependent with people, when really neither one of those are very good. We got to get back in that middle there. Right. And I just went through this last week. I had a sponsee that were doing stuff. They ended up saying, "Hey, I'm going to go a different way," and I can't stop them. I cannot stop them, nor am I going to try. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to try and convince you to come back into AA. I'm not going to do that. You're going to have to make the decision yourself. I can't make that decision for you. Now, I might follow up with you. Hey, how you doing? You've been doing okay? You doing all right? Remember, we're still here. I might do something like that. There's been times I've shown up at somebody's houses to let them know, at least give it a try, but I ain't going to go chasing either. We got better things to do. There are people out there that are willing to accept what it is that I have. So I'm going to go find that person. Okay? But your sponsoring cannot be dependent on what your sponsees do or don't do. It is, what are you doing? What have you done today? All right. Now, you might feel discouraged. Okay? You might. It took a while before I took anybody all the way through the steps and they made it. Oh, I don't even know what you would consider making it, So even then, we're off the beam again. I've taken plenty of people through the steps. What they do with them is entirely up to them. Some of them have never spoken to me again. Some of them are still in my life. Some I talk to every now and again. I really leave it up to them, and kind of how our relationship went through I would say about half the people that are my sponsees become my friends. It's been about half, it seems. Right? Or we may encounter the reverse situation in which we are highly elated because we seem to have been successful. Here, the temptation is to become rather possessive of these newcomers. Perhaps we try to give them advice about their affairs, which we aren't really competent to give or ought to give at all. Okay? I'm going to give you a little unsolicited advice. That's what we'll call it on this one, because you didn't ask for it, so it's unsolicited. All right. When it comes to your sponsees, you get to take no credit, good or bad. It does not matter. And don't be selfish of the newcomers. At the same time, don't let those newcomers just flounder around. We talked about this yesterday. Hey, stop trying to determine people's willingness. They walked in the door, and that's all I need. That's them asking for help. That is an action, right? So we become possessive. Do not give advice about relationships, about jobs, about meds. Even if you are a doctor, a therapist, or even if you are qualified to do these things, stay out of it. That's your paying job, and it is not to be brought into this. Well, but I am a doctor. Yeah, but you're not their doctor. This is about playing the role of a sponsor. Now, do you have other skills that you might use in order to help this person? Sure, you might. Okay. Now, this is one thing that I know I've been seeing a lot. Homework on steps 1, 2, and 3. I've never been given homework. I've never been given things to write out on steps 1, 2, and 3. Never, ever. I've been around this program well over 20 years now. No, I don't do it. These are non-action steps. I give them other actions. It is not my job to convince them that they are alcoholic in that sense. I utilize the big book. If you want to use something, go to page 21. Read page 21. Ask them, okay, what I want you to do is keep an open mind. I'm going to read this, and I want you in your mind to tick off all the things that are you. Oh, there's going to be some in there. Now, if any of that is you, you're an alcoholic. Or is any of that you do? Do anything? Yeah, I do. Oh, I do. I do 3/4 of that. Oh, okay. Okay. Utilize the big book. I don't know where this other stuff is coming from. Okay. If somebody sent me an email, they're like, okay, print this off, and I would laugh at you. I would laugh at you. That is not okay. That is bringing clinical portion, and I use clinical stuff too, but I don't extend beyond what the big book does. I did not create more work for my spot. Well, if they don't do this, they're not willing. See, now we have an expectation. The one thing that I do have my sponsees do is they need to send me a text every night that they stayed sober that day. I don't need a phone call. I ain't gonna answer anyway. And it's just about accountability. If they miss a day, or let's say they miss a day, let's say they went a whole week, and then Saturday night they were just exhausted, forgot, and fell asleep. Am I going to give them a hard time? No, I'm not. Why? Why am I going to get upset about that? Stop trying to control sponsees. They are not there to be controlled. What you need to do is go learn a little bit about leadership and how to handle true power. Honestly, we need that. I took leadership classes. Well, I didn't take classes, but I did a lot of reading. It's not, school moves so slow, right? Then, perhaps we try to give them advice about affairs which we really aren't competent. Then we are hurt and confused when the advice is rejected, or when it is accepted and brings still greater confusion. By a great deal of ardent 12-step work, we sometimes carry the message to so many alcoholics that they place us in a position of trust. They make us, let us say, the group's chairman. Here again, we are presented with the same temptation to overmanage things, and sometimes this results in rebuffs and other consequences which are hard to take. This has happened to me. I was going to this meeting, and there is no double dipping in this meeting. No, that's the rule. I did not make the rule. I don't need to make the rule. It wasn't my meeting. All right. But the person chairing the meeting said, "But Dion gets a double dip because he really, and he meant it too." Because I really like what he has to say. I'm going to tell you, number one, I already know what that is. Number one, that is somebody killing me with kindness. It means they didn't like me. That part I already know. But the point is, the answer is no. And I didn't double dip because it was I have to follow the rules too. Now, I am not anything special compared to anybody else. No. No, I'm not somebody of prominence. I'm not a saint. Okay. I do the best that I can with what I have, like everybody else. It's what I do. I don't do anything differently than you do or anybody else. All right. They let the group straight. Here we are again presented with temptation to overmanage. Now, I was not tempted by that bait. But in the longer run, we clearly realize that these are only the growing pain, or that these are only the pains of growing up, and nothing but good can come from them if we turn more and more to the entire 12 steps for the answer. Yeah, go to your own sponsor and ask. Go to other people that are sponsoring if you're wondering. My sponsees ask me quite often, Dion, how do I handle this situation? What do I do? And then we discuss the different options. All right. Now we're getting to today's reading here. Now comes the biggest question. What about the practice of these principles in all of our affairs? Can we love the whole pattern of living as eagerly as we do this all small segment of it we discover when we try to help other alcoholics achieve sobriety? Can we bring the same spirit of love and tolerance into our sometimes deranged family lives that we bring into our AA groups? Yeah, and this is where we start to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Okay. The way I see the meetings is they're a good break from the day. That's where I go and the meetings where I go and recharge. It is not there for me to dump. It is not there for me. No, I'm to give. There's no point going to a meeting if your plan is listening only. That's what I was told. If you plan on just going to a meeting and listening, my second sponsor. So one day I sat down in his car. I said, hey, I think I'm just gonna listen this week. It's another great idea from a newly sober alcoholic. Another fantastic idea that no other alcoholics ever thought. Yeah, right? See, that's what we think. And he said, the fuck you are. If you're not going to go to a meeting and share your experience, strength, and hope, Dion, don't bother. You're no longer a newcomer. You're there to help the newcomer. And I was like 3 months. How long are you a newcomer? About 30, 60 days. And then you're not a newcomer anymore. Once you start doing the work, that's the way I see it. All right. Okay. So can we bring it to everywhere we go? I don't agree with this deranged family thing. Not every family's deranged. Talk about my family like that, motherfuckers. I kid. I Josh. Can we have the same kindness, same kind of confidence, faith in these people who have been infected and sometimes crippled by our own illness that we have in our sponsors? Can we actually carry the AA spirit into our daily work? Can we meet our newly recognized responsibilities to the world at large? And can we bring new purpose and devotion to the religion of our choice? Can we bring new joy of living in trying to do something about all these things? Yeah. It's about becoming the example. And that means to everybody. That means to everybody. Furthermore, how shall we come to terms with seeming failure or success? Can we now accept and adjust to either without despair or pride? Can we accept poverty, sickness, loneliness, and bereavement with courage and serenity? Can we steadfastly content ourselves with the humbler yet sometimes more durable satisfactions when the brighter, more glittering achievements are denied us? Wow. There's a lot of people that go live and kind of do this. This one's a little bit different. And in the beginning, I used to have a hard time, man, because I'd see people talk about nonsense and they'd have like 5,000 comments but you read through them and it was appeasement and kind of these other things. And then after a while, I started to figure out that if I could have my own self-esteem, then I would not need those things. And that would free Dion to be humble. Hi, Clara. Good to see you. But yes, I can do those things too. When the better satisfactions come to me, I don't need to gloat. I mean, I'll give you the extent of my bragging. I got asked to be full time on Take 12 Radio. There we go. That was my brag for the week. That was it, because it was an accomplishment. There wasn't about anybody else. It was about what I was doing. It didn't have to involve anybody else, right? And besides, it's not my show. I was asked to be on. Right now, I'm a permanent host. Oh, we're gonna have a lot of fun. So, yeah, some of these better things. And then there are times when I look at things, I'm like, God, why is this so lopsided? Somebody will take a picture of a lobster, and millions of people will fucking say something about it. I try and save somebody's life, and nobody shows up. To me, it's confusing, but I'm one of those people where hard conversations are normal for me. They're just normal. So let's do today's daily reflection, and we'll get wrapped up here today. Everybody can go. I need to go set up my antenna for the football game. So try to use an antenna. Bringing home the message. Here's a little bit of repeating here. Can we bring the same spirit of love and tolerance into our sometimes family lives that we bring into our AA group? 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 11 and 111 and 112. My family members suffer from the effects of my disease. Loving and accepting them just as they are. Loving and accepting them as they are, just as I love and accept AA members, fosters a return of love, tolerance, and harmony to my life. Using common courtesy and respecting others' personal boundaries are necessary practices for all areas of my life. All right. Remember, a friend said, actually, this was another person that used to try to kill me with kindness, but I consider him a friend. Whatever they want to think, I don't care. They said something in a meeting, and it stuck with me ever since. And he said, I give more grace to complete strangers than I do my own family. I'm like, no shit. No shit. I do the same thing. Now, it's a natural human emotion. This is something that all human beings do. When they are angry, they take it out on the person they love the most. They all do it. And we alcoholics certainly go to that extreme, right? Now, when I get really, really mad, you know who I go to? God. I go yell at God. That's who I yell at now. If I feel the need to yell and scream at something or somebody, I go beat a pillow if I need to. But I'm going to try to take an action that is not going to affect people in a bad way. That's not right. I've got to learn how to redirect my anger into something a little bit more constructive instead of destructive. And I know you can do it because when it comes down to it, we alcoholics are very, very giving people, but the alcohol makes us extremely selfish. But when we get rid of that alcohol and get into recovery, I find that alcoholics, man, they will go above and beyond for you. And in the beginning, it's out of guilt because they feel like they owe back to society. But after a while, that feeling goes away, and they do it because they love you. Yeah. Curtis says we think it's our right to. Yes, we think we have these rights and we make them up. I would agree with you there. My brain still kind of does it. It tries to justify why I might be. Well, it still does not give me a right to be a jerk, man. It does not. What it is another. It is another opportunity to demonstrate God's omnipotence. Right? So when I yell at God and he still loves me, he is showing me an example of how I need to treat his children. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Go Broncos. Gotta say it. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.